Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Uh, Today I would like to discuss a chapter of strategic international human resource management. Uh, the importance and the learning objectives of this chapter is related with the development of international business strategy from the different perspective, the development of the strategic international human resource management, the links and relationship between strategic international business and strategic international human resource management, the critical international strategic decision involving the centralization or localization of strategic international business and strategic international human resource management policy and practice, the extent and the nature of research into the practice of strategic international HRM. So these are some of the learning objectives, some of the key learning objectives related with this chapter that will we will discuss that we will discuss in this chapter. The chapter starts with some journal description of the process of strategic management, and then flows with an explanation of the evolution of international business strategy, and describes how international human resource management, you can say that, with the uh, with fits into the overall strategic management of an multinational enterprise, we can say that. So this includes describing the links of a global business strategy with the outcomes that a strategically managed international business might expect from effectively tying together an international business strategy and a strategic international human resource management. So these are some of the links. These are some of the important aspects that we would discuss in this chapter. Then in the introduction, we can say that in the ideal world, a firm conducting international business will be actively engaged in strategic planning and strategic management. This is very important thing. That the firm will regularly perform an environmental analysis or a scan of its external threats and opportunities and its organizational strength and weaknesses, and from that analysis, develop its global strategies, which are then implemented for global success. A company strategy uh, is the game plan its management has for positioning the firm in its chosen market arena, for investing money and people in the development of particular business capabilities, for developing sustainable competitive advantage, for pleasing its customers, and thus for achieving superior business performance. Uh, the when we're talking about the strategic part, or when you're talking about the strategic management part, so this is basically if you can draw a figure. So the first part of that figure would be organizational vision, mission, and goals. The number one thing, and then this leads to, if you can draw in a horizontal line and make an arrow of one part to another part and third and fourth and fifth, I can explain you one by one. So the number one is organizational vision, mission, and goals. Then you can arrow, horizontal arrow to another part, is that is the environmental scanning. And the third, you can say that the strategic formulation or strategy formulation. The fourth thing is the strategy implementation. And the fourth part of the basic elements of the strategic management process is the evaluation and control. So these are generally the fifth part that we can discuss in this strategic human resource management, or when we're talking about, whenever you're talking about the basic elements, or when you're talking about a company strategy, is thus the game plan. This game plan is very important. This is, here you can see that this game plan matters a lot. This game plan can lead the organization to a success level, where nowadays, if we see that the SpaceX is, their success level is determined, is the one of the key factor of that organization is the game plan that determines the success, the key of the organization. If the organization don't know about where they would be, what is the purpose of their organization is, what is the existence of their organization is, what would be, or what is the vision, mission, and goals of the organization is, then that organization face a lot of issues. That organization can face a lot of troubles issues. That organization can face a lot of success issues, as well as you can say that the organizations don't know where would we would be in the next 2 years, or in the next, even in the next 6 months. We don't know if we don't have a proper game plan. So game plan is very important. And where the other thing is that the when you are talking about a game plan, so for a game plan you need to provide a proper resources, and for proper resources you have a proper budgeting as well. And with the proper and accurate budgeting, you can set a good and effective game plan. And that effective game plan leads the organizations towards the positioning of the competitive market, or in such a and provide such a platform where business can excel, where business can lead, or you can say that prosperous, as far as financially, as far as the growth perspective is concerned. And we can see that here in the slide as well, as that you can develop a sustainable competitive advantage with this proper game plan. This is very important. The other thing is that the strategic management, we can say that is the era of competitive moves and business approaches that managers employ in running a company, and that are derived from the firm's vision and missions, firm's visions and objectives. In crafting the strategic management, is saying that is among all path and actions we could choose, we have decided to go in this direction and rely on these particular ways of doing business. So these are some of the basics things which is also related with the strategic management. You people are already have gone through with the strategic management course, and you learned about these things. So I don't want to discuss in the details, but if you have any questions, so you can ask from me, so we will discuss it. Whatever the medium that you like, that you will choose, the LMS you would like to discuss with me, through the other part of the mediums, that Zoom or whatever you can say that. Okay? Before going, I would like to assign you assignment that you can find out, or you can search out through internet, specifically through the Journal of International Human Resource Management. Find out the Journal of International Human Resource Management, and identify any paper of your choice, and submit me a, 2 3 pages critical review, not less than two, and the minimum pages would be two, or more than two is be it would be better. And you would be submit to me on today's 24th of the April. You would submit me that task on 30th April. So let's see. Do you people submitted? All those students who will listen it definitely submitted. I know that. And all those students who won't listen it or who don't listen it, they might be able to submit it. The deadline for this assignment is 30th April. Find out any relevant paper or any paper that you can, mm, of your own interest, from the Journal of International Human Resource Management. You can find out by the Google as well. Then, moving further is the evolution of the international, the evolution of the multinational enterprise. Then we can say that the before going or before explaining is that I would like to explain the more about the global strategic planning. Global strategic planning is the we can say that the international, and when you're talking about international human resource or the human resource department, is one of the area of the management that can be impacted by internationalization, and an HR managers are among the last to personally internationalize. The HR can and should provide input to the strategic decision making and choices at the highest levels, including decisions about going international. So these are all the things that is related with the previous slides as well. Evolution of the multinational enterprise is the in order to place international human resource management in the context of the multinational enterprise and to link with the multinational enterprise, it is necessary to have an appreciation for the development of the international firm. There have been a number of approaches to this issue. The following provides a short synthesis of these various approaches. This discussion of the development of the multinational enterprise and its international business strategy begins with the discussion of its evolution, and then is organized around three issues at the center of international business strategy. Number one is the degree of internationalization and geographic scope. That way we are going for the international process, internationalization, and the geographic scope. Geographic scope is that in which area and where we are going as the need, and you can say that so many others element that cover the geographic scope of the for the international uh, human resource management. The basic choices by a firm for entry into the international business, the accent of global mindset or global orientation of the firm and its executives. So these are some of the concerns. These are some of the issues related with the evolution of the multinational enterprise. Then the degree of internationalization, geographic scope, degree of internationalization, geographic scope, increasingly for most businesses and in most locations. Strategic business decisions involve choices to go in an international direction. Often a firm has no choice but to go international either because it is facing competition from outside its national borders, or it seeks cheaper resources or expanded markets in other countries. When strategic decisions are uh, made to go international, it obviously affects every function of the organization, you can say that. So the degree of the when we're talking about the geographic scope, if I can elaborate you and if I can explain for you that the thing is that when you're going for the internationalization, when you're talking about the international business, and when you're talking about the internationalization or international business category, the degree of internationalization is linked with the international or multinationals, multinationals or multi-domestic, or you can say that regional, and then you can talk about the global and transnational. These are all the factors, these are all the issues that is concerned with the degree of uh, internationalization, you can say that. Then the following provides a brief overview of the concern is linked with the so so the concern with the linked with the internationalization or the geographic element is the that the various strategies are stages to understanding international business strategy. These are the interrelated aspects. Then you can say that the stages of the international development required um, differs in the structures they adopt in international operations. You can say that the specific international strategy chosen or develop influences the choice and the design of organizational structures, coping with the complexities of the design of global enterprises turn out to be the one of the most difficult areas in which international human resource management can make a strategic contribution to a firm's international business strategy. So these are all the elements which, when you're talking about the geographic scope, so these are the issues, these are the concerns that covered the geographic issues. Then internationalization is the first stage. Is this stage in the firm makes the initial decision to go to international. In the beginning, this choice will probably involve only export to foreign customers in one country or import of one or a few products, again, probably from only one supplier or from one country. The international business activity at this level will have very little impact on the overall business and will not receive much management attention. In recent years, this level of strategic involvement has extended beyond concerns for finding new markets or cheap raw materials to licensing, subcontracting of manufacturing, and sourcing of manufacturing inputs in order to meet rising cost pressures caused by increased global competition. So these are the concern related with the management practices and intentions, attentions. You can say that when you are going for the internationalization, and then other aspects is the international division or global product division. When foreign sales reach over 10 to 20% of total revenues, our global sourcing reaches an equivalent level of impact. Firms often choose to form international divisions that will be responsible for all international operations. Many service oriented businesses begin at this stage with a significant number of stores or offices, service centers established in one or more foreign countries. If the firm has a large number of products being sold overseas, it may choose to create product lines with the product worldwide responsibility. So these are some of the things at the level of the development. When you're talking about the level of the development, the international responsibilities of the HR is now expand dramatically and become much more complex. Not only with the number of parent company employees on international assignment increased dramatically, creating the demand for new skills in the HR department. But now the HR department will need to become involved with the development of human resource management policies, practices, and decisions of the foreign operations. You can say that. I must say that. So then the other thing is the we can say that multi country, multi domestic stage. At this level of international strategy, a firm decide to establish subsidiaries in multiple countries, with these subsidiaries typically operating independently within each country and independently we can say that independently of operations in other countries and often fairly you can say that fairly independent even of the parent company headquarters. This is referred to as a multi-domestic or multi-country strategy. Lincoln Electric described the case. If you can concern the book, so you can understand about it, and you will betterly go through with and with the understanding with this concept. The another important point here that you would need to understand is the what do you mean by the subsidiaries. If some of the students know have the idea is good, well enough, but I would like to explain here that what do you mean by subsidiaries, or what is subsidiary company is. A subsidiary company is basically owned or controlled by a parent or holding company, you can say that. When a parent organization owns all common stock of a company, it is known as wholly owned subsidiary. So these are the some of the examples is the of related with the subsidiary. For example, Instagram acquired by the Facebook in April 2012, and later on they also acquired WhatsApp. So a popular messaging is this is basically the example of a subsidiary company. You can say that Facebook is basically the main company, is basically the, you can say that a company that owned or controlled by a parent. So the Facebook is the parent company, and Instagram and WhatsApps is the subsidiaries of the Facebook, you can say that. So this is the meaning of the subsidiary. Then how, another important question here is the linked with the how do subsidiaries work. A subsidiary operates independently of the parent company and is a separate legal entity. Remember this, keep remember these things, that a subsidiary operates independently of the parent company and is a separate legal entity. They do not have been in the related industries. The parent company exercises control over the subsidiary due to its ownership of the other firm's stock, and you must say that the understanding of these things. So the parent company is the main company that can lead the overall operations uh, of the company. Then here I would briefly explain, not go in a detailed. I would share with you if you need it, and if you ask from me, so I would like to share with you this case as well. Ford Motor Company goes international. This is just a case study. This is just for the discussion purposes, for understanding purposes. Ford Motor Company has been in business for over 100 years. And when it comes to a global mindset, Ford is ahead of most of its competitors for a number of historical reasons. Over the years, Ford evolved into a collection of country and regional, uh, in the regional setups, in the regional elements, you can say that. Early in the history, Ford was like many large US companies, which often sent someone off to the UK, Canada, or Argentina to run a company just like the one back home. The first Henry Ford was in many ways an internationalist, because within a very few years of establishing the company in the US, he was quickly opening assembly plants all over the world that were essentially smaller versions of the original company, as comparatively with Detroit. So these are the operations. These are the that how companies going globally, and how companies going multinationally, and how companies leads their business internationally. The next thing is the national regionalization. Regionalization, basically. So regionalization is the alternative to the multi-domestic strategy a firm may decide in initially or possibly after this pursuing the multi-domestic strategy to conduct its international business on a regional basis, as Ford company has done.
So with the described in the international HRM, and you can go for the details as well as. Um, and then the other thing is